Are you a fan of attacking chess? Do you want to learn how to demolish your opponent right in the opening then and there? Are you someone that absolutely hates passive openings? Then this video is just for you. Hey guys, welcome to IQ Chess. Hope you are having a fantastic day, and in today's video, we will be reviewing the Danish Gambit. This by far is the most requested video on this channel. I have received countless people commenting on my previous videos on the burst opening series to make a video on this specific opening. Also, we recently hit 500 subscribers in our channel and we are still growing in a crazy margin. Thank you so much everyone who has been watching my videos and supporting my channel. It's really amazing and I love you guys so much. So in a way, this is also my 500 subscriber special video. So let's begin. E4, E5 and D4. This is called as the center game. And the Danish Gambit occurs after black takes and we play the move of C3. A quick word. If black does not take us here, I will discuss this part of the variation later on. So stick for that. The problem with the Danish Gambit, in my opinion, the reason why it is not played at the highest of levels is because if black knows what they are doing, if black knows mainline theory, they will equalize. However, if you are a beginner or intermediate level player watching this video, this opening can give you a lot of opportunities to win easy games online, especially in blitz and bullet time controls. So let's begin. E takes on D4, C3. This is a gambit. We give up one or several pawns in order to get huge development. Here, the obvious move we look at is D takes on C3. For the rest of the variations, we'll cover it later. Here, instead of just taking this pawn with our knight, which just seems the most natural, we are going to be playing the move of bishop to C4. We are giving up yet another pawn to be grabbed by the opponent. And here, they have no other main choice, so taking is the obvious one. Bishop takes on B2 and we reach this critical position. Before looking at the specific moves, let me give you a brief introduction on the key ideas and the concepts behind this opening. We have given up 3 pawns and gotten 1 back. So we have given up 2 pawns. This E pawn that started on E5 has taken its way and a journey to the B2 square where it was captured by our bishop. As a compensation, we have extremely high activity. We have so much open lines. We have 3 semi-open files to our name. This queen can hop over to the B3 square or to the F3 square and put pressure on the weak F6 square. This bishop in many variations can go to the F7 square and sacrifice itself to kickstart our attack. Our king is only 2 moves away from castling. We can, at any time if we feel endangered, we can just put the knight on F3 and then castle shot. This bishop is doing a fantastic job and prevents this bishop from developing naturally. This is the idea behind this opening. Let's see. First, I will give some traps and then we will look at the theoretical variations which are objectively challenging for white to play. Queen to G5 is a bad move. Let's start with that because this move is played a lot, especially at the intermediate level, because people think, why not attack this pawn? There is no real way of that. There is no real good way to defend it. I mean, you can still play the move queen to F3 and just, black will just develop naturally. However, what we will do is we'll set a trap here. We will play the move of knight to F3, enticing black to just come here and grab our pawn. And black will just happily do that. However, that's a huge mistake because rook to G1 comes in the board. Queen to H3 is the only possible move to save the queen. And here we see the sacrifice. Bishop takes F7 is an amazing move. The point being, the king cannot take us because at any point if the king takes, we can play the move of knight to G5 and that will be a fork and black will lose their queen. So, black has to play the move of king to D8, which is the most logical one. Here we have yet another amazing sacrifice with the move rook takes G7. That's an incredible move and there is no way anyone would anticipate this move. Also, this move will be given a brilliant tag on chess.com. So this is an easy way to farm some brilliant moves in your game. Here, the thread is simple. This knight is being attacked 2 times by our bishop and the rook. So if black does not move the knight, we are going to take it. If black just moves the knight now, we will just slide our rook back to g3 and we have a double attack on the rook and the queen, and we are completely winning. The engine gives us a 6-point advantage in the position. If black does not move the knight and instead captures our rook, we can follow it up with bishop takes on g7, and this rook is just trapped. Poor rook, and it's just completely trapped. Black is basically dead because if the knight moves, it has to move basically, and you just win this rook, and then black cannot castle. Neither can we, but we are up in material and we are a lot more active. Black is just completely dormant except for this queen. None of the other pieces have ever moved from the back rank, so it's very good for us. So, this is a killer trap. I hope you enjoyed this trap. If so, please scroll down below and hit the like button. Subscribe to this channel if you have not done already. It really helps a lot. It just takes a couple of seconds of your time. So yeah, I hope you consider it. Let's come back. From now on, there are some more goofy lines. However, we will look at the core ones. There are around 5 to 6 critical moves here. Knight to f6 is the classical variation. We will begin with that. Here, we can play the move of e5, kicking the knight around. If black plays the move of knight to e4, which they might mostly play, here we again see our key idea, bishop takes f7 check. After king takes, we have a fork on d5 square and we win the knight. Although black is up 1 point of material, we have a lot of compensation. Our king can castle, black's king cannot. It's very vulnerable and completely exposed on the whole diagonal, and surrounding region is easily exploitable. So this variation is not as appealing if black does not know what they are doing. The best that black should do after the move of e5 is to develop this bishop or play the critical move of d5. However, I don't really believe those moves will be seen. If bishop to b5, simply will just block the piece. And if d5, we can just gobble this knight and give up our bishop, and then take the queen. So yeah, let's go to the next variation with bishop to b4. This is called as the Copenhagen defense, and this in my opinion is by far, after the selected, this is by far the most challenging approach by black. And here we will play the move of king to f1. We don't want to block the bishop and get pinned ourselves. Rather, we would like to move our king away from the center. Although it is still, we can't castle anymore. There is no way black is attacking us at this point because black has 1 piece developed and we have 3. So yeah, here knight to f6 is by far the most common move. e5 pushing forward. Here we see the key idea of d5. In this variation, it is a lot more findable because this knight basically is helpless. So here we go. E takes. We have d takes and the queens can be traded. However, I prefer the move of queen to e2 simply because we are attacking the black. So we would love to preserve our material in the board. After bishop to e6 blocking, we can play f takes on g7. Rook to g8 is the only sensible move. And here I like to play the move of h4. This is not the best move. The best move according to the engine is the move knight to c3. However, I don't really believe in that move. Engine likes it because for some reason I don't know. I wish I knew, but I would love to preserve this. So yeah, for that reason, I just really enjoy playing the move of h4. So this pawn is a huge target. There is no practical way to defend it. Once we play the pawn up here, completely safeguarding this pawn, we can play the move g3 and move our king to something like h2 square. Develop naturally with knight to f3, and then keep this bishop around with a3, or just trade it even with the move of bishop to a3, and we are just fine in this variation. So if you know what you are doing, the Copenhagen defense is not so challenging after all. The next one is the move d5, which is called as the Schlechter defense. This is an extremely critical variation and is a double-edged sword. What I mean by that is, if black does not know what they are doing, they will lose the game on the spot. Because after bishop takes on d5, black must, know the point, black must play the move of knight to f6 or knight to d7. If black is completely oblivious and plays something like the move of c6, they are losing because of the move bishop takes on f7 check. king cannot take because that would remove the defender of the queen. See, we are learning a lot of concepts. This is called as the removing the defender, deflection tactic. If king moves to e7, here we have a simple bishop check, and now the king is basically forced to take it. So for that reason, black cannot do this. So what can black do? Knight f6 is by far the main line, and here we still go for sacrifice. After king takes, we can play queen takes d8. However, the difference being bishop to b4 check brings our queen back by force. Here we can play queen to d2, giving up our queen and then developing our knight. Although black has equalized the position, we have a lot more chances here because we have a lot more activity. Black's pieces are completely dormant. We can just play the move knight to f3 and castle short and bring the rooks to the open files and play the center. So yeah, let's move on to the other variation, which is in this position, black playing the move queen to e7. This is called as the Chigorin defense, not the queen's pawn one, but this Danish Gambit one, the Chigorin defense. Here, the best thing to do is just to mirror black and play queen to e2, defending our pawn, because I don't really like the move of knight to f3, if I knight to c3 or knight to d2, because I just blocks the bishop and it's kind of cranny. So here, again, knight to c6 is one of the most common move across the ladder, and here we can play knight to f6, knight to f3 simply developing. d6 is a usual move because the black does not want to develop the knight and get hit with the move of e5. So for that reason, d6 is commonly seen. We can develop our other knight, and after knight f6, castle on the king side. Although black is still up material, we have completely developed all our pieces. Black's king is still 2 or 3 moves away from castling, depending on which side they choose to do it. And we have some attacking chances. This queen and king at center of the board is vulnerable. We can even gambit this pawn by moving forward and letting it be taken, which will open the e file for us. We can move the queen away and something like rook to e1 become possible. So yeah, for that reason, this is a really interesting variation in my opinion. And finally, we have d6. This is the thing that this is like a little brother of the selector. This will be played by people who have no idea what to do. And here, this developed naturally knight to c f3. If black pins us, we don't mind it. We can just sacrifice, because after king takes, knight to e5 check is a beautiful tactic because the pawn cannot take us. We will win the queen. So the king has to move, and then we have knight takes on g4, and we are winning. We are up a pawn, we are down a pawn. However, we are completely winning because the king is exposed. We have a lot more development, as I said earlier. So that was the key ideas. Let's go back. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, to this position. So what else can happen from here on? We looked at knight to f6. We looked at the move of d6, d5, bishop to b4, this queen to g5 crap, and that basically summarizes everything that happened from this specific position. However, we have something to explore before this. After the move of c3, black has 2 choices here other than taking our pawn. One is the move d5. This is called as the Sorosan defense. And here, the best move is to just take the pawn. If black takes us back, the presence of the queen in the center of the board is a huge target for us. We can just play the move of c takes d4. This queen being here will give us some attacking opportunity. We can just develop naturally, bring some tempo on black, and this will be a good game. If black does not capture us and rather plays the best move of knight to f6, here, do not fall for the trap of just trying to defend the pawn. I just really don't believe in those variations. You can still play the move of bishop to c4 or knight to c5, or just simply take the pawn back, give the pawn, have the centralized isolated pawn, and after black takes, we can just develop naturally knight to c3. And although this position might be challenging for beginners because of the isolated pawn, if you know what you are doing, this is good for you. Another option could be this move of queen to c7. Queen to e7. This is a really, really tricky and advanced way to play. This is what the engine recommends actually after the move of d5. And the reason is actually very certain. I don't really believe anyone really plays this variation because this does not even have a name actually. There is no specific designated name for this variation. Just taking this pawn is the best choice, and we can defend the pawn with bishop e3. And once again, the queen being here is a huge target for us. We can play the move of knight to c3, kick the queen around, develop our other knights, bring our bishop out, choose to castle whichever side we want, king side preferably because we have lost the c pawn here. Put our rooks on the c and e files, and we have an amazing game. So that was this variation. Now we finally come to the last one, which is what if black does not take us and plays the move of d6. If black plays knight f6, it is called as the Kennedy variation of the Nimzovich defense. Covering this variation is hard for me right now because it's a huge deep dive. And literally 2 days ago, the chess giant, who I really love watching, one of the most amazing creators on the YouTube platform, he made a video on the specific variation. I will link that video just below if you ever want to just review it. However, the move that you will mostly face is just the d6. This is called as the Maroczy defense of the PS variation. Here, taking the pawn is a choice, which is the best move actually. However, there's a gambit here for black. If black just recaptures, it's bad for them because queen takes queen is just not good for black. However, this move of knight to c6 is something that you have to worry about. This is called as the Desmet Gambit, I think, or Desmat. Yeah, whatever it is. Here you need to know some theory. I personally played this before in my days. So yeah, so for that reason, I don't really like the move of d takes and rather just prefer the move of d5, simply occupying more space. If black plays the move of f5, which is the best move, you can just put it right here or just play the move of f3. Bring the bishop to the f2 square like this. The knight out, sorry, the bishop out. Knight out and then castle the king side. And you'll have a good game from there. So that was it for the Danish Gambit, guys. If you enjoyed watching this video, as told earlier, a subscribe to the channel would be amazing. Your like and your comments are highly valuable for me. I do read and heart every single comment I receive. I take a suggestion. If you want to see any other openings or any other middle game, anything in general related to chess, comment them below. I will try to make a video on them specifically. So yeah, that was it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next video, stay tuned.